Hello guys, welcome to the next video on Node.js tutorial for beginners. In the last video, we have seen how we can send JSON data to the browser from Node.js, right? And this was the code I have written in the last video. Now in this video, we will talk something about routing, and we will talk how we can, route our data and cater different responses for different requests, right? So let's get started. What I'm going to do is I have taken the last video code here, and I have added one more line here, which is logging the requested URL. Okay, just this req.url. I have added this code extra, and everything is same from the last video example. Okay, and now what I want to do here is I want to first of all run this app, and I want to just open my browser and refresh my browser. So the base URL here is /, right? This is the URL. Now, for example, I want to request something like API for in my URL. I want to add /API, and I want to request some data when I request or I extend my URL with this /API. And when I do this, you can see the request is gone with the different URL, but the response is same, right? And for example, I want to add a about page, and I will press enter. It gives always the same response whatever the requested URL is. You can see I have requested the /API URL, or /about URL, or for example home. Let's say home. The response is always the same. So how we can route these different URLs according to the request we want to send the response. So let's see how we can do it. So I'm going to go to the code once again here, and first of all I will use this URL to parse which kind of request is coming to us, and then on the basis of this request we can cater the result, right? So you can see I have already made index.html in the previous videos, right? So this is just a sample HTML which I have created in the previous video. So for example, I would say this is my home page. Okay, so I will just add home page, and when somebody request either the URL /home or just the /, then I want to cater this index.html or home page there. So what I'm going to do here is first of all, let's just take the space here. Let's make the space here, and first of all we will add the code to parse the URL. So just write request, which is the first argument here, request point or dot URL, which is going to give us the URL, and then give triple equals. Remember, I'm using triple equals because it's always a good practice to use triple equals instead of double equals. So try always using the triple equals, right? And then I want to match it with, for example, /home, or if it's only a /. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this and paste it here. And if it's a /, then what I want to do here is I want to give the text response. So I will just copy this line of code, but this is HTML, right? So instead of this, I can just say text /HTML, right? Now in the next line, we are going to create the stream of our HTML page, and then we will send it. This will be HTML here. So fs dot create read stream, and we want to create the read stream from our index.html. So we can just directly give index.html, which is already present, right? And we will pipe it to the response. So we just write to pipe and then just write response or res. Okay, so this is going to just send the index.html whenever this home is requested or the base URL is requested. Or else we can just write if, or you can better write else if, right? So just write else if, and if the request URL is, for example, the JSON object, so I will just say triple equals API. So this is just kind of a API, and whenever this API is requested, then we want to give this JSON object. So I will just create a if condition, and inside my if condition I want to send all this JSON data, right? Something like this. Okay, so what will happen now, I'm going to just format it. Just right click on your Visual Studio Code and just click format. It's going to format your code, right? And let's rerun our code once again. So close the code and rerun it once again. And now when I do, for example, just a base URL and press enter, is going to show us the home page, which is the index.html it's sending from the server. Or whenever we write here /home, we will see the same response, the home page. But whenever we write here API, for example, API, then it gives us the JSON response, right? And in the same way, we can give different response on different requests. So let's add one more response, for example. So for example, I want to have a about page, so I'm going to create a about.html. So I will just say about.html, and in this about.html I'm just going to copy the code from index.html, and I will just say here about page. Okay, so this is my about page, and in my app.js I can just copy this code from here. I would just say else, and my code, the code which I have copied, which is this code, and instead of home I will just add about here, and I will just remove this, right? And instead of index.html I will just replace it by about.html, right? And let's run the code again and let's see if it works or not. So I'm going to open the browser, and this time I will just ask for about, and it gives us the about page, right? Or home, then it gives us the home page, right? Now for example, let's say I'm just requesting some random URL once again. Is going to request it, but it's never going to get any response from the server, because server cannot resolve this URL, right? Now in this case, whenever server cannot resolve the URL, ideally we want to send the response 404, which is not found, right? So let's add this response. So in the last condition I will just add a else condition, which is the last condition for us, and let's create a 404 HTML page. So I'm going to right click and I will just say this is my 404.html page, right? And once again I'm going to just copy the HTML content from index.html or about.html and paste it here, and I will just write here 404, and I will just write not found, right? And now I will just add the condition here. So in the else condition I'll just copy these two lines once again, and here I will just write the 404.html, And instead of giving 200 response, this response I will replace by 404, right, which is not found status code. And let's run the code again, and in the browser let's try this random URL again, and now it gives the 404 response to us. Okay, so home, and we have about, and we have our API, which gives us the JSON response, or any other random URL will give the 404 response, right? So in this way you can route your request and give the response according to the URL requested. Now there are much better ways of routing your requests using some extra modules or third-party modules, and this is we are going to see whenever we will learn how to use npm modules, right? So there are thousands and thousands of third-party module available to perform different functionalities, so we can use these modules using npm, and this is what we are going to see in the future, how we can use these modules. So all these things can be done in a much easier and professional way. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and bye for now.